And my value.
Self-preservation is the first law of nature.
Yeah.
So, you got to take care of yourself, but still take the attempt to put your children's feelings before your own.
And I think that's why statistically, that's a big reason why the divorce rate is high, because of what you just said, people putting kids first. I beg to differ, even though my dad agrees with you too. He's the dad, he puts us first. He don't care who walks, we come first. So he's been an excellent father, but not the best of man, just being real. Me and him had debates where I say, Daddy, I don't agree with that. He's like, I'll never put a woman before you or even my mother. And I'm saying, I don't agree with that. When I have kids with my husband, we come first. Doesn't mean the kids go without, but when you have two adults who understand that we're showing learned behavior and we're teaching our kids what a healthy relationship looks like, not just for marriage, but also them. It doesn't mean that the kids don't eat and the wife and husband does. There's a hierarchy for me that goes God, my hubs, me, and then the kids.
I understand
and so
that.
The covenant is broken. Only for me, I'm not self-projecting. The covenant is broken when it goes the other way. Of course, if I'm married and my husband says, if only one person gets to eat and there's three of us, I'm sure both of us are going to equally agree it's the child.
Right.
But when it comes to making sure our relationship is healthy, which is really the healthiness of the...
All right. So quick question. I'm going to ask you guys this question. Who comes first? The kids or your partner or your husband or your wife? Who comes first? For some of you, that may be like, duh, right? For some other people, it might be like, of course, whatever your answer is, right? But I'm curious to know who comes first for you and what's your logic? What's your explanation behind your choice? Who comes first? The kids or your partner? That's what I am asking. Hold on one second. Let's see here. Let's keep going. Let's still talk.
Environment for our child. For me, my value is only my husband comes first and I come first. And I find in my session of 17 years, Nick, there's been many more men than women who come in and say that the relationship failed. And if you look at divorce rate statistics of when divorce happens, it's after that first child.
Yeah.
It's after, because
they should have never got married in the first place.
Probably so, but also because, whoever it was, and from my experience, it has been the woman. We're not knocking women, but it's been the woman more who has placed the child first and totally dissipated the man out the relationship.
Only reason why I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this.
All right, before he disagrees, as you can notice here, this is a man, a full-blown grown man, Nick Cannon. We're looking at Nick Cannon and a young lady coach, psychologist, that's her accolades, Dr. Shani Bryant, and they're having a conversation. They had a lot of conversation. Now, she's had a lot of conversation over the past few days, and I just wanted to bring this up to speed with you guys because these are the kind of conversations that are influencing a lot of people out there. As you can see, Nick Cannon is absolutely disagreeing. I see Chidima says spouse, definitely no kids without a spouse in a marriage. Takes a spouse to make the kids. Okay. Yep. Let me see. Did Misty say something? I'm not seeing Mrs. comment. We will say she herself come first, not spouse or kids. Misty, what do you say? They're tagging you here. But yes, who comes first? The spouse or the child, right? I'm gonna let them talk a little bit more. He's about to disagree, and let's see what his logic or explanations are.
Stop.
It's okay.
It's because we're talking life.
Yeah.
These children did not ask to be here.
Right.
They are a responsibility.
100%.
As individuals, I can't put my desires and my happiness, or I shouldn't,
right,
over someone that I am responsible for. So I'm not even talking about putting food on the table and all. I'm talking about, we're talking about mental, physical, and spiritual well-being in a household. I'm not, and again, this is pretty heavy. Because one, I grew up with it, and I'm a product of it, and I'm producing it.
Yeah.
When an adult is saying, Mama gotta live too. Mama need her man. Daddy gonna do his thing. I'll be back. When those mentalities are presented to a child,
that's a different mentality.
That's where abandonment issues
surface,
and where a child feels like I'm not good enough.
Abandonment.
In that sense, because they made decisions for themselves before they made decisions for me. And children pick up on that at a very early age. So I much rather say, it ain't about your mama right now. I'm rocking with you. And say that to my child as much as possible, even if that hurts mama's feelings. To me, at least, because I know that child is going to grow up with a certain level of self-worth.
Self-worth. Isn't that convenient? We tend to bring in self-worth when it's convenient. Don't we do that? We do that quite often, right? Self-worth, self-esteem, self-discovery. All right. What do you guys think about Nick Cannon's logic? What do you guys think? Self-worth. Is that a way to build self-worth with the kids? I'm asking, honestly, all of our comprehensions will make sense here to make sense. Is that a way to help kids build self-worth? What do you guys think? Self-worth. So just tell them that they're more important than their mother or their father. Demonstrate it at every chance you get. The point here is there's a comparison, and then in order to build self-worth. Okay, that's actually the point. Let's keep going. Let me play a little bit more.
They didn't feel like daddy put work before me, daddy put women before me, daddy put whatever before me. I can instill anything into my own children is that you are my number one priority.
Wow.
Even all that I do is for you. Every dollar that I make is going to you. So
interesting.
Again, I'm pretty sure people in the comments going to debate, have different things we all have different experiences, but every time I see an adult put their happiness.
But you're describing more of an adult saying, I'm going to do me at the expense of you.
Even in a marriage.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even in a marriage, but we're not talking about the level of I'm going to do me at the expense of your needs. I'm going to do me for my pleasures.
Because we do that as humans.
But a healthy family dynamic takes balance, and it's very unhealthy for a child to feel like they are number one above authority, because what happens
authority. Does she have a point? Okay, now we're going from putting a child who comes first to children, we're going from that to self-worth, and then now we're going from self-worth to authority. What do you guys think? Let's talk about it. What do you guys think? Now they're going to authority. Which one is... Now let's compare authority to self-worth. Which one is more important in terms of your kids? Your kids being able to respect authority or having self-worth. Which one is much more important? Do we even need to compare the two? Let's keep going.
They grow up to then disrespect authority, which we entitle, and they grow up with this narcissistic type of personality, even if they're not diagnosed with it. And then you have
spoiled brats.
And then you have these kids who don't respect when law enforcement pulls them over. We have an issue. They're going to school, and these teachers can't even get them to sit still enough because they're so used to being number one and things going their way. No.
Yep.
Listen, the first place a child should get their feelings hurt by hearing no, or the first place a child should see that you are not always number one is circumstantial, should be at home.
Okay, all right. So Nick Cannon said, yeah, you're always number one. Like, you come first, no matter what. It's very important to instill that in a child. She's saying, in real life, you're not always going to be number one. Who else is going to teach your kids that? I wonder. Anyway, Chidima says, children need to know that regardless of what happens between mom and dad, they will always be loved, taken care of. I wouldn't use words comparison or competition, right? I will make them know everyone has their place, right? Ninja, Natu came with the ninja head. And Ninja has 200 baby mothers. Is that why he's putting his children first? Maybe, right? Welcome, Natu. Children are vulnerable and require my priority. I expect my spouse to understand that and be supportive. But what about this angle that we're looking at right now? Who's going to show them that they will not always be number one in life? How do you plan to show them this? By way of speech or just a question? Because she brought up a good point there too. I think Nick Cannon's point is good too. The self-worth thing. You guys know that I always talk about self-worth here is everything. It's literally everything. But oftentimes, when I say that, people can easily also take me out of context, right? Just the same way that people have been taking self discovery out of context. Some people are using self discovery as their permission to punish themselves for a lifetime. Yep, to justify what really doesn't need justification, right? So, but we'll see. Mr. E said, my spouse's sport and that of my children aren't comparable. Each has their own place. You know what? In real life, you will be presented with very difficult situations where kids need to know what the priority is, right? Where kids are literally going to look at you and look at daddy and look at mommy and look at daddy and say, who's like these kids can be selfish like that. They will test you like that, right? So if they come first, right? Who comes first? They come first. Depending on what else is going on in that dynamics, there might be other things going on, but oftentimes you'll be put in that position where there's actually comparison going on, you know. So that's how difficult life and marriage can get, particularly marriage inside of life or life inside of marriage. The kids will test you. One of the things that I've had to address many times with my clients is the disagreement between husband and wife when it comes to raising their kids. It's real, and it will show up regardless of how perfect, how fine you are as a woman, or how handsome you are as a husband. You will have disagreement around the kids sometimes, and you will be put in that position. Let's keep going. Welcome, Chiye.
Because life is going to teach you that you are not always going to be the butter cake of everybody's dessert. Nick, I'm sorry. You know, so, but what I'm saying, then what that does is that creates that emptiness that I'm going to poke at you, that emptiness and that sense of inadequacy within you, because you were groomed in a certain way that life can't maintain. And so what happens is you're number one.
You were groomed that you're always number one, and that's not sustainable in real life. She's making a good point. I do think self-worth is a good point, but she's making a good point. Imagine if you were groomed that you're always number one, even above your own mother or father, right? Amongst many other factors, could that be a reason why you feel entitled about life? Yeah. If you align that with 3 other factors, that child will collect in life. Let's keep going.
And you're the golden child and all these things. It happens with athletes. Then you go into the real world after you retire and everything shatters. Now you got depression, your suicidal ideations,
but they still accomplish things that most people will never accomplish and experience great experience because we told them how great they were from the beginning. We instilled in them that we're going to support you all the way along your ride so you can not only reach the levels that you want, so you can reach back and then get the rest of the family.
We will support you along your ride. That does not mean that kid doesn't understand balance, that there's a thing called boundaries that our community doesn't seem to have, probably because of that dynamic. The boundary goes, baby, we've been at your football game, your soccer game, your ballerina game, daddy and I all day. It's 9 o'clock. It's shutdown time. There's a boundary where it's time where this is our time and you're
all right. What do you guys think? She's making sense to me. It's a debate between Dr. Bryant and Nick Cannon. One person is a 41-year-old single woman, never been married, never had kids. One person has about 200 kids by multiple women, was once married to Mariah Carey, one of my faves. She said, by not raising a bunch of entitled kids, by saying no at times because life be lifing. Right. So let's see here. Where have you been, hon, making the Benjamins? They're abandoning me here, but God and the algorithms has my back. Husband is number one, followed by kids. All right. Sometimes you have to make difficult decisions in life. Toby and Tribe says, I pick my child over any person for this life, including husband. We're being specific here, including husband. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Including a husband. We're not talking about a boyfriend. We're not talking about a fiance that you don't really know what's tomorrow, but we're talking about a husband, a competent husband. I have 17 lessons and 17 myths to break for the husbands today. Welcome, Priscilla. Good to see you. Chidima said, I'm sorry, but I feel that this mentality will negatively affect our marriage. What kind of relationship would the spouses have when the kids grow up and move out and get married? Interesting enough, I have another topic today where I'm actually going to be giving you 5 ways to avoid a partner pulling the plug at 39 years mark. You know, Judge Mattis' wife files for divorce after nearly 40 years of marriage. We'll talk about that. I'll give you 5 ways to avoid that. That comes up in the Chidima. That comes up in there. Those children are going to leave your ass behind at some point, just in case you never see anything yet. They're gonna leave you, okay? Not only are they gonna leave you, they're gonna leave you to cleave on to other human beings. Anyway, Chi says we should be a team and raising the kids because we'll grow up and leave. Then you will have an empty nester and left with your husband. I told you today is a pact. If anybody missed today's master class, hey, while I don't do. Today is the day. Today is fact. I've seen okay. You guys are joining. Let's see if there's any more here.
Teaching your child how to grow up and not be a narcissist that then needs his woman or her man to put them first over everything, which is
no, their own children will never be narcissists. Narcissists they are monsters. Their own children will never be narcissists. Why is she bringing that up, right? I'm being sarcastic.
Boundary where it's time where this is our time and you're teaching your child how to grow up and not be a narcissist that then needs his woman or her man to put them first over everything, which is a fairy tale and unrealistic. You're teaching them the balance between we are a family dynamic. There's times that daddy's going to come first, there's times that mama's going to come first, and there's times that you come first. But what we do is we teach that so that it becomes more of a wholesome type of feel, not me. And the moment you don't get me, you flee because you can't sit in your emotions of hearing no. Because you got to control things to keep things the way you need it, which is called codependency. So what you describe is then creating a codependent child that says, if I'm not the center, guess what?
Yep.
Fuck all this because I'm not the center of attention.
It gotta be the center. It gotta be the understand that in a dynamic.
Kids create. We grow up to, if we don't do the work, right, and get a sense of self, we grow up to create the exact environment we learn to thrive or survive in, period. That's all we know. We can't create past what we know. That's why experience teaches, words don't. So if our child or my child...
Experience teaches us, words don't. Wow.
Your beautiful kids are always at the center of you. And she grows up and gets a man who cannot...
That's why when people don't want to hear and they have coconut head, it's okay. It's perfectly fine. This is the real world. Experience is still the best teacher.
He's a great man, but she can't be the center because what if he got kids like you and them kids are the center?
She need to pick better.
That is she may have to pick better.
But
just say she has someone who can't give her that same treatment and that's her norm. You have to be realistic about, or should I say aware about, what norms am I creating for my kids? And I'm saying because, listen, I'm a product of what you're saying. I was the golden child. I was the child that came first. But I had to work through a lot of BS.
We all do. We all have challenges.
All right, we all do. So we all do. Listen, all the talking points, there's always more than enough talking points to support our BS. It's okay. That's why experience is the best teacher at the end of the day. So I'm very patient. I just wait for people to experience it. Nick better grasp this mess right now before he creates little monsters. Especially somebody that has multiple households all over the place. They really need to, especially if you have multiple kids, multiple baby fathers, multiple households, especially, you cannot afford to have your kids thinking the whole world revolve around them. They learn from what you do. They learn from examples more so than what you say. It's very important that they see a joint force, if possible. As I understand, some circumstances might not warrant that, but that's a different topic. You still need to find a way to instill this in your children, that the world will not revolve around them. If their whole childhood they keep thinking that mommy is going to take up for me, I don't know. I don't know. Nick is a coconut that he needs to close his mouth and listen. No, he's not going to listen.
Challenges. We all come with some shit, and that's why we even right now we're discussing a very small percentage of people, because if we keep it in a stack, we all done been through some shit.
Oh yeah, all of us, yeah.
And it only makes us stronger in that sense, to where when we get.
All right, so in continuation of this Dr. Bryant feature today, let me play this video for you all, and then we'll take it from there. If you can't hear it, please let me know on time. Thank you.
Therefore, I have dealt with some people that balance me and are equally yoked. And at times, have I been manipulative and prey on certain things? Yes, because I'm a man.
Right. And but not all men do that. We don't want to blanket all men.
And all I will take advantage.
Do not prey and manipulate. Not all men.
First of all humans prey and manipulate, but in a man in a relationship,
not in a praying way.
If I see that I can say, okay, I feel like I need this and this person has this, I'm gonna do and say whatever I need to do to get that.
But Nick.
So therefore, I have dealt with some people that balance me and are equally yoked. And at times, have I been manipulative and prey on certain things? Yes, because I'm a man.
Right. And but not all men do that. We don't want to. With all due respect, seriously, to all the women that you've encountered, ladies, I'm saying this: the reason why it's worked for you is because you have chosen and to prey on low functioning women who don't have the emotional intelligence. No, I'm going there. Who will allow you to do that, Nick? And when I say allow, it's not a control thing. When I say allow, I'm not saying that she sits across you and says, this is what you won't do. You're crossing a boundary, Nick.
All right. So in the first clip, he was saying that all people prey on people, but yet somehow he's not willing to admit that he sprayed on, I wouldn't call them low functioning women though. Especially if these are mothers, I wouldn't call them low functioning women. I think the definition of high functioning, low functioning is people who are very active, essentially, not necessarily high, low value. It doesn't matter. But either way, she's making a point. Let's see.
I disagree.
With all due respect, seriously, to all the women that you've encountered, ladies, I'm saying this: the reason why it's worked for you is because you have chosen and to prey on low functioning women who don't have the emotional intelligence. No, I'm going there.
Who don't have emotional intelligence. She said, I'm going there.
Allow you to do that, Nick. And when I say allow, it's not a control thing.
I wouldn't say that directly to him, not in his face. I wouldn't.
When I say allow, I'm not saying that she sits.
Yeah, I will sit on the fence.
Across you and says, this is what you won't do. You're crossing a boundary. Nick.
I disagree.
I would avoid, this is why I avoid all those terminologies, right? People have how they feel. They need to acknowledge how they feel before you can help them anyway. So why would that need to put labels on how they feel? It doesn't help. If anything, you're going to get, I disagree. You know why? Because they've been reading. Right? Guess what he just said? I disagree.
With all due respect, seriously, to all.
With all due respect is always backed by actual disrespect. But anyway, I'm sure she didn't mean that. She's supposed to be a coach. She's been working hard. She's been doing very well so far. But
I don't know if it's the Libra in me, if it's my abandonment issues as a child. I'm quick to be like, we agree to disagree, so I'm out. I'll run. I'll detach. I'll act like, I'll shut down, I'll internalize. And I know that's not healthy, but.
All right, so it is very possible. Oh, sorry, you guys couldn't see the screen anymore. It's okay, we're here. It is very possible to know that you're doing the wrong thing and still struggle with stopping it. Okay, it's very, very possible. Okay, it's very, very possible. Not to say where's the lie though. The thing is that with this kind of conversations, we don't focus on what's the lie or what's the truth. Because what might be truth to you may be a lie to the other person from their perception standpoint. And if this is a relationship you care about, then that becomes a problem. That becomes a confusion, right? So we don't want to worry about just the fact that she's telling the truth. It needs to be told in a way that it can be received. It's useless if the truth cannot be received. It becomes useless, effectively a lie. Let's see. So is he choosing low functioning women to be the mothers of his children? That's what they're saying. That's what she just said, right to his face. They allow him prey on them. Wahala. But it's not even that, and I can respect that he's not willing to say like no, of course not. You know, like no, of course not. You know, I'm not going to. You know, Chia said that's true, Ola. You see, that would be a lie if you couldn't receive it, right? You needed to understand that, comprehend that. There are many people, believe it or not, that I will say that to, and that still sounded like a lie to them, because in their mind, let's call a spade a spade. Right? Let's call a spade a spade. Sometimes in your relationships, you're calling a spade, and the other person is still asking you. Like in your mind, right? In your experience, you're telling them what the truth is, but they're like, you did lie. Why are you lying? Right? That's relationships for you. So you got to keep that in mind when you're interacting with your significant others. If they're coming off as they're saying something that's not accurate, it's not your experience, slow down. You know, ask more questions for clarification. Don't be so quick to assume that things are a lie. If you tell them it's a lie, well, they're going to take an offense to that. And worse, they're not able to tell you that, well, I take an offense to that. Or they attack you right back, and then you have an effective bass boost in your hands. Your problems. So he's talking about abandonment stuff here. Those are very, very thick stuff that a lot of people need to walk through. He was talking about he will run and detach. Many amongst you are in relationships with this type of people. And if you don't know what you're doing, you just be there arguing with your destiny. They're not even hearing you anymore. They felt everything you said as an attack. Priscilla said 3 is a crowd. Simple, yes. Yes, 2 or 3. Right? It gets crowdy, and then before you know it, it's just messy all over the place. Anyway, that's another one from the Dr. Bryant. She's been doing some rounds, and I thought this was some really good talking points. But on this one, she caught, I think she caught a fade a little bit. I wouldn't say to that man's face that the mother of his kids, of all 200 kids, are low vibrational, low functioning, low functioning people that got preyed on. If you said that to me, I would tell you I disagree with you too. By the way, I would tell you go to hell. Why? Because I'm a normal human being. Why would you want to say that to me? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, here's another one. Let's see. Here's another one. Let's see. Low functioning, high vibration, low vibration. So she also sat with a young man athlete used to be. I'm not sure what is. I don't watch sports, so I don't know. His name is Cam Newton. Yes. So let's listen to this too.
The opposite of that would be low.
No. Okay, so here you go. You're trying to take my intentions away from this. Can I correct it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or can I give you more?
Yeah, some more information. Heck yeah.
So, I'm not married, right? I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
I thought I didn't do my research. I thought it was 4, but 8. Okay.
No, baby.
Cool.
It's
by how
8.
many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more. Now.
By multiple women? What's the intent?
I just want God
about your
to
wife?
bring him. I just want God to bring him.
Oh, okay. And you have to
because my point is this. My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce.
All right, let's process that. His desire to get married is lower than his fear of divorce. All right, let's all stop the cap. There are many people like that today. Right? Let's stop the cap. There are many people like that today. Can we all admit to that? Can we all admit to that at least? Let me come to the chat. There are many, many people like that today. 8 kids. I think he said 6 baby mothers or something like that. Anyway, hold on 1 second before we continue here. We're still warming up. We're warming up. Let's see. What did I miss? Did I miss anything in the chat? A little bit, right? I don't see Mariah Carey as such. They were in a marriage, and it was after the marriage that it was just all over the place. I'm finding out that some men go AWire with women as no, they do. Not AWire, but not necessarily with the kids. You can go AWire with womanizing, but not necessarily. It doesn't have to be with a bunch of kids everywhere, right? Coping mechanism after divorce. You should change that to go AWire with kids to go AWire with having kids. But those are 2 separate things, right? So what is he supposed to say? What's he or she? You mean she? I would say party done. This conversation is over. Like they say that to you, yeah? So what is she supposed to say? It depends on where the conversation is coming from there, but as you can see, he shut down, right? So anything you would say that will make a person shut down it becomes pointless to say them, right? At least you back off a little bit, try to understand where they're coming from so you can land your point. I'm sure you have your own points of what you want to say or why you are saying all of the mothers are low functioning. She will never have enough information to call them low functioning, okay? Because they are mothers. They're high functioning, okay? I don't think she should say that, period. I don't know what she was trying to say, right? But whatever she was trying to say was not necessary. Some people enter their whole era after breakfast, yes, but that doesn't have to turn to kids though. Jesus, there are condoms out there. You guys know that, right? Yeah. You can use Duncons. So no, he said 3 moms. Did he say 3 moms? Okay, 3 moms. Okay. All right, 3 baby mothers. All right. Chinya said no, go AWire with women. In this situation, kids came along with the whole. So you don't think I agree with you, but so are you trying to say that Nick could not really figure out how to not have a bunch of kids while he was doing his thing with multiple women? Is that what you're trying to say? I mean, feel free to say that. He couldn't figure that out. Is that what this is? Anyway.
So, as you would say it, Dr. Bryant, you said it. I didn't say it. I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
Let's go back to the kids.
Is lower than my fear of divorce.
These are the reasons why he has 8 kids. Okay.
To bring them.
Oh, okay. And you have.
He wants God to just bring them. He wants God to just bring the kids. He wants more kids.
My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So
that's real.
As you would say it, Dr. Bryant, you said it. I didn't say it. I will.
Is that a real reason to start having kids all over the place with no structure? Let's keep going.
Will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time. You're being very action-based.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active. Okay?
Absolutely.
So you're creating.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button.
Disclaimer. The kids are innocent. They are
Let's
beautiful and
ginger the
amazing.
algorithms.
Anything I
Thank
say has
you.
nothing to do with them babies because I can't wait to be a mom and I love the kids, period. But you are proactively.
Team, it's been a grind, but I think I've aged you well.
Oh.
Some might say perfect.
All right. Let's see. Eventually, they're going to add more ads onto these things. We won't be able to skip after one. All right, we're back.
Where you want to be active. You are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence.
Well, this is the part that the Gen Z is coming up with. You don't have to have a family. There's no need for that. You could just procreate kids. just because you desire them. Of course you can, right? And that's a great solution for a lot of people. Here's the problem. Every solution, not even your solution, that's half-ass, Gen Z people, uh, every solution also creates problems. But even more problems when you really think, when you find a solution is the end of solutions or is the end of life. You found solution, end of the movie, Nollywood movie, Netflix, hits at the movie box theater, right? Unfortunately, every solution you create in life creates new problems. And many people don't come from that place of awareness. So how much more when you create kids out of you just want kids? Well, there are many people doing that these days, and that's fine, but the only thing I ask them is just be aware that you are creating new problems, not the kids, but you're creating new problems. And really, all you have to do is the start is just be aware of that. Because if you're aware of it, there's a chance that you will put more effort in mitigating whatever those problems or the risks are, right? But if you're completely in the blind and you just move around life anyhow, right? Talking about, I'm just taking my time. You're still going to be, inshallah, you're going to be here for a long time, right? To pick up some of those pieces, right? At most 2 decades from now, you start seeing the effect of that decision. At most 2 decades from now. Let's keep going.
And knowing you thus far, but these families are still broken. Every child cannot have Papa in the house with them. So some child, if not all, will end up with some kind of deficit without daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to go make a baby. Not saying that at all.
You were just having
but
sex.
Those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear.
So what do you guys think about that? I'm going to play the last clip of Dr. Bryant with some of these people. What do you guys think about that? Do you agree with her? I bet that's just a bunch of gibberish. What do you think so far? Okay, so he's gonna push back a little bit, just a little bit, right? Let's see here. Let's take this.
This is my point that I was saying, and we're kind of taking a step back to Euro.
Welcome, Uncle Benu.
Try to score.
Right.
Now, I'm having a hard time to believe a very educated, a very attractive woman out of 41 years have not met Mr. Right.
Wait, what?
That's enough time to find a lot of things out.
I bet.
And yet,
wait, what?
No kids, single.
What?
I'm not, but I am saying, are women's expectations unrealistic?
No, I'm gonna say, like I said on Nick,
okay,
the question shouldn't be why is.
She's going to explain herself now. Okay, everybody, brace yourself. Okay, she's 41, never been married, no kids. Okay, and she's about to explain why not.
We go explain because no evidence.
Let's see how this goes. Okay, I mean, you knew that conversation was gonna go there, right? It's just a conversation, right? Let's see.
Unrealistic.
No, I'm gonna say, like I said on Nick, the question shouldn't be why isn't a woman of age, of success, of a certain caliber not married with kids. The question should be, why are people rushing to the altar just to become divorcees or baby mamas and baby daddies? I think if anything, we need to be teaching our society.
Wait, what? Let's go back to the question. Let's go back to the question. Honestly, ladies, if you are in this kind of shoes, please don't you don't need to explain yourself on this ever again. Everybody's journey is different. You never have to explain yourself, okay? It doesn't mean you can't seek help if you feel you need help, but you never have to explain yourself in this manner. But let's see the answer again. Wait.
Woman out of 41 years have not met Mr. Right. That's enough time to find a lot of things out.
I bet.
And yet, no kids, single. I'm not, but I am saying, are women's expectations unrealistic?
The question is, are women's expectations realistic? Right? Now, the answer she gives to this will determine the answer to your question, not to, is that a bad thing? Right? The answer she gives will determine if it's a bad thing or not. Right? No, let me say. How focused she is on answering that specific question will determine if it's a bad thing or not. We were not going to answer that question for her. Oh, by the way, Cam Newton is also not going to answer that question for her. She gets to answer that question with the way she handles this very specific question. What's the specific question? Are women, let him say it now, hold on.
Are women's expectations unrealistic?
Unrealistic.
No, I'm gonna say, like I said on Nick, the question shouldn't be why isn't a woman of age, of success, of a certain caliber not married with kids? The question should be why.
She got stuck on all the leading points to the main question. She got stuck on all the leading points to the main question. Why? Because she's a human being like the rest of us. Something hit a nerve. That's why. Right? We still don't know what the answers are. Right? But clearly, those things that he was using as a, because those are reality. She's 41, single, never been married, right? Those are part of the story she told in the beginning of the podcast. You guys should go and watch the podcast. Very interesting podcast on commutings. I'll see if I can link. I'll try to remember to link the actual podcast in the comment area. Right? So this is what the story she's told before. So nothing special. She should just, if she's going to answer any question, she should focus on, I don't think women are unrealistic. Focused on that, but she couldn't. Why? Because there's some type of truth for her, at least. Right? Maybe it's the same reason why Natu is asking that question.
Why are people rushing to the altar just to become divorcees or baby mamas and baby daddies? I think if anything, we need to be teaching our society, take your time, young man or young woman, so that you can get to know not just this person, but yourself first.
Is this not the same podcast where the young man said he was taking his time and creating kids all over the place because he wants to be a father, but he's more afraid. His fear of divorce, something like that. It's the same podcast, right? Why am I playing this for you? Just know that human emotions are not your mate. That's all. Okay, that's the open of this. Nobody is right or wrong here. Human emotions are not your mate. Lots and lots of emotional intelligence is required for this type of conversations. All those right and wrong rhetoric will always fall in the poto because everyone feels right and the other person always feels right. And when you make them wrong, that makes you wrong because they're like, what do you mean I'm wrong? Right? They feel like a loser, and that's a person, that's your person. Now they feel wrong, they feel like a loser. It never pans out right. Let's keep going. They're not doing anything wrong, they're just having a conversation.
So that you can choose a life partner, not that person isn't exempt to divorce. Instead of rushing to the altar just to become a divorcee or a baby mama and have multiple kids by multiple women, just to say you have broken families everywhere. I don't see no benefit in that. I believe, like I tell my brother.
They didn't ask you why you didn't go and marry to go and divorce. They said, why you're not married? They didn't even ask you why you married only to end up divorced. They didn't ask none of that. Somehow we end up in that part of the conversation.
He's in here, Shane, all the time, and who's 31 with no kids and doing well for himself. Take your time. You don't need to rush to an altar just to divorce this woman. And another thing is people who actually feel high valued within themselves, not financially. Internally, they feel high valued. They are not rushing to have a wife or a husband at the expense of divorce just to feel like they've added value to themselves. Because it's a deficit if you're marrying for the wrong purposes. It is an asset if you're marrying from a place of creating a family, of creating stability, of raising kids who can see this thing move and this house not be homeless, but this house have wealth in it, the real wealth that actually sustains. And so for me, I'd rather take my time choosing than end up doing time because I'm making wrong decisions. I'm good.
Say less.
Got him! Got him!
All right, just leave her alone, please. Okay, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It happens to the best of us. They ask us one simple question, and we're just all over the place. When we get in our emotions, it's real. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Leave her alone. Okay. She should not be shamed for being single. Never be married. Particularly, never be married. There are many people that can be single after 40 for life circumstances. Life happens to us. That's our own life happening to it. It's just what it is. Some people's journey are different, and it is what it is. She's also made some mention that she's been doing a lot of work. In fact, go watch the podcast. You will notice she's had 2 failed engagements and 2 failed proposals. I think so. No, 2 failed engagements, and she called off 2 weddings, and she called off 2 weddings and 2 engagements, and she's a life, relationship, and marriage coach. Okay, welcome to the real world. Welcome to the real world. I was listen. Just leave her alone. You can never be too careful. You can never be too careful. All you can be is live life and continue to be the best version of yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people either. But when you're 41, you never been married, it will hit a nerve if somebody asks you that question. Never had any kids. When people ask you that question, you never have to explain yourself. You never have to. Just make sure you're working on yourself. That's all. As a feminist, you should have the right answer now. Uncle Beno. Dear, easy. But she's not creating kids up and down. You're helping her do the tit for tat, Abby. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a bit contradictory. However, she can justify her own situation and say that she's not having different kids with different men as she's trying to get the right man. Well, she's collecting breakfast. Breakfasts are not free, regardless. Or she's dishing breakfast. It's the same thing. They're not free. They create trauma, that you have to walk through. Now, she said multiple times she's done a lot of work, and she's also a life coach. So I choose to believe her in that respect. Now that you know that she's had 2 failed engagements and 2 failed, what's the other one? She called off 2 weddings and 2 failed engagements. Now that you know, does that make a difference for you? Even for her as an individual, all those failures will create fear. It takes additional amount of a lot more work to get through all of that, because it creates fear. It makes you question yourself, your confidence, and you already know confidence is everything in these conversations. So they're both doing tit for tat, insulting each other small by small. Yes, that's what it becomes. That's why I said you never really have to explain that. You need to, if you're going to be a public figure and this is your reality, you need to find your way to properly deflect without deflecting to other questions. Maybe she's scared. It's real life. This can be scary, Even me, if somebody served me 2 breakfasts, 2 different ways, engagement and weddings, I'll be scared. I'm telling you, I'm a human being. I only have brain like the rest of us. I'll be scared. It will scare anybody. Okay, that's why nobody should be walking around with trauma and not doing the work necessary. But that was some series around Dr. Bryant. Let me ask you guys a question. Should I cover? So I had some other warm-up stories. I can push them tomorrow. You guys decide for me in the chat. If you want me to push them to tomorrow, put the 1 in the chat. If you want me to cover them before I cover the 17 lessons, put a 2 in the chat. You want the 17 lessons, you want me to dive right into that right now, put a 2 in the chat. You want me to push, I guess, right? You want me to cover the stories before I get into the 17, put a 1 in the chat. Stories, 1 in the chat. Forget stories. Let's get to the lessons for today. Put a 2 in the chat. Yes. Uncle Beno say she called off 2 weddings and 2 engagements. I beg, sister need Jesus and a bottle of wine. Leave her alone. I said leave her alone. You couldn't help yourself, Uncle Beno. You want 17 now? I was confused. Just say 17 now if you want me to cover go into the 17 lessons now. Just put 17 in the chat if you want me to cover the 17 lessons right now. I think Dr. Bryant is solid. Overall, I think she's solid. based off of the overall that I listened to in the podcast. I definitely do. I'll leave this here so I can make sure I link them for you guys in the description later on. Let's see here. But it just goes to tell you that we all need the work. I keep changing the numbers. You want one? Push story to tomorrow. One, Abby. Push story to tomorrow. Okay. All right. I think we should do that. Yeah, let's do that. I think we have a long way to go so that we don't waste too much or make the live stream too long. All right, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Yeah, and if you're watching this as a replay later on, please do let me know your commentaries in the comments. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'll be right back.
Hey Prestige fam, show some love to the video. Hit like, subscribe, and share. Are you in Europe, America, and struggling in your relationship? From argument to abuse and trust issues, we're here to help.
Lola and I founded Prestige Marriage Academy to transform your story. With 20 years of friendship, 17 years of marriage, experience with navigating the ups and downs of marriage, and personalized coaching, includes 24/7 support. Ignorance is expensive. WhatsApp us at +1 732 305 8577 to book a free discovery session today and take charge now.
Don't wing it.
Join us in creating the love life you deserve.